All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, December the 20th of 2019. Santa's coming. It's so exciting, isn't it? I hope you get all the gifts that you want. So all of you that celebrate, Merry Christmas, and looking forward to it. I think over the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to be off for 2 Fridays in a row. So let's make the best of this one here today, and make the best of the follow-up to the systematic approach we've been talking about, that we've been following. So to reiterate where we were last week and where we are this week, we need to get to the point where I really have you start off 2020 the right way. And that is to recognize that unequivocally, you are in a position where you need to be strategic. When you come to the end of the year, oftentimes, you look at what you've done and how you've performed, and it's a difficult thing to reconcile. Hey, I don't have what I want yet. Well, because most of us are continuing to be tactical. So in other words, we tactic shop at the end of the year. So you go and you say, well, I did this website, or I had these leads, and who's got better leads? That's not the problem. The problem is a strategic approach to everything we do. It's a business, not a job. Maybe the tactician who just does the job and that's all they ever want to do in direct proportion to their energy can get away with that. But you as the strategist, business owner, cannot and should not, because there's so much more out there for you. So the main point here is what we want to do is be strategic about everything. And that means just taking a beat to think. Now, with the mastermind group on Thursdays, we do that. We sweat. It's not easy. Sometimes I find myself really having to push that conversation up the hill, but it's worth it. I know it's worth it, because in my own business, I can see the benefits beginning to come because we were diligent, we were patient, and we just kept pushing that agenda to be strategic and think intelligently about everything that we do. And it's pretty simple to do. One of the best ways that I would say to do that is just to think in small beats and say, I'm about to do this thing. In this case, I'm going to follow up on telemarketing today. I'm about to make this telemarketing call. Why am I making it? To whom am I making it? Do I have a formula that I'm following, or am I making this up over and over and over every time based on what I know, quote unquote? Okay. And is any of this helping me achieve the vision that I want? What do I want for this business over the next 12 months? That starts, well, it already started, but certainly today is an opportunity for you to think differently about how to be strategic in everything you do. And like I said, yes, the tactical work takes up most of the time when you're an agent. Now, at this point in my career, I would tell you the majority of the time, because I have wonderful teammates on my direct book of business in Autumn and Laura. The three of us work this together so that the leverage of marketing, the leverage of systems, the leverage of each of us helping each other allows me to spend more time being strategic, thinking, and nitpicking once we get a good strategy that works. And that's what we're doing here today. Last week, we went through this expired formulaic approach, and I listened to real calls from my real team. So Autumn shared a call. We got into the microeconomics of what could be better. And again, in the heat of the moment, I mean, the human being against that backdrop of a system is safer. But then once you start to get the footing on that, you can go to the next level. And that's what we did last week. So I was asked by Lindsay Barlow, could we also show that formula on the probate side? Now, this is definitely newer for Autumn. This is only probably about a month and a half. So today what I'll be looking for against the backdrop, and I actually opened up my mind map. So all of you members of TRC that have access to the mind map for the scripting, I'm going to be working from the step below expireds, which is probates. And you're going to see that when I critique this, I'm critiquing it against the backdrop of that. And when I say critique, I'm just trying to get it right. I don't know what these consumers are going to say. Somebody has died. This is a highly charged environment, similar to expireds, but in a much more different context with death. Okay, which is the prime mover for the reason why real estate may or may not be involved. We don't even know that yet. Okay, so when we go through that, understand that's what I'm doing so that you are able to hear it. All right, I'm going to open up the microphones. Remember, I'm looking for quiet so that we can get through this. So I want you to be live though. I want you to be able to participate. We probably won't have a big group because it's that time of year where, you know, a lot of people are shopping. So that's fine with me. But what I want to do is I want to get this right. So let's make sure you mute the mics when I open them up here. And then I'm going to look for Autumn and see if she and Laura are in here. Kate, could you text Laura and Autumn just to make sure they're in here when I open this up? I could see that you're there. And
Andy, I have a quick question.
Sure. Hang on 1 second. Hang on. Lindsay Barlow, I think that's you there also. Is it? Lindsay? Who's in Idaho? Is that Tommy or is that Lindsay? Who do we have in Idaho? I have somebody.
Linda is here. I'm Lindsay's assistant.
Fantastic, Linda. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Do we have Lindsay? When you say you're her assistant, are you the telemarketer?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's call you what you are, a telemarketer, because that's the most important part. I want everybody to understand that this was to benefit you as well. If you could text her, I'd really, really want her on here if she's not tied up. So I don't know if that's possible. We're doing the call, but before I get into those details, I'll take a couple other Q&As and maybe you could get her in here. Okay, that'd be helpful. All right, yes. Gail. Yes. By the way, welcome, Linda. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gail, go ahead.
I have a question about calling on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, really. I know, but no, I just wouldn't. I was asked, me personally, I wouldn't do it. I respect all of you enough to make you stop working next week with me, right? There's a real important downtime for people, and I want you to respect it more so in yourselves than something else. I mean, if you're sitting there calling,
don't call like the day after Christmas.
Well, again, like, look, here's the deal. This is the holiday season for a lot of people. I mean, if somebody's Jewish, you know, that might not be a relevant date for them. So I'm more interested in you respecting. Hey, guys. Oh, hang on. That was Laura, or my office. Gail, Paul. I mean, just respect, you know, that in somebody else's world and in your own, more importantly. That's what I'm saying. If those dates aren't important to you and you're going to go after it, but most people they're looking for a little bit of downtime right now, right? I mean, I'm in an office share up here in Boston. It's a ghost town. There's 2 people. Why? People want to blow off some steam right now. They want to relax. They want to enjoy the holidays, okay? Now, I'm not saying that there's not somebody out there that's absolutely desperate for help, that might need some help as a probate or an expired or a buyer who's desperate to move. I'm not saying that they shut down and that need goes away. I'm simply saying that I was asked a question and my immediate gut reaction was, when the heck does anybody slow down? So I'm more about this balance here, and I'm looking for people to be balanced in our coaching group, to the 2 of you especially. Slow down, take some time off. I would rather that you and your telemarketer, or if you are the telemarketer, spend some time in a coffee shop, having a glass of wine somewhere with a spiral notebook, thinking strategically about your telemarketing, about your outside sales. What would you do differently? I think that this is one of those greatest times of the year to slow down, take an inventory, getting away from executing a tactical plan and chunking it up. Does that make sense? That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying tactically, I know what you probably say. You probably say, but you can get a lot of people who are sitting at home that day. Yeah, that is just not my vibe. It's just not the way, like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, of course, Autumn. Of course.
Gail, you definitely don't want to be the telemarketer from hell calling on a holiday. Telemarketers don't call on holidays at all, okay? And I don't think I'm even going to make a phone call the day after Christmas. I think that I'm probably going to wait. Christmas is Wednesday. I may call on a Saturday, but my feeling is that I would probably call the following Monday.
Yeah.
And you definitely, you know, telemarketing is annoying for people, but you don't want to make it more annoying by calling on their holidays. Just leave it be.
Yeah. And I can make a case that New Year's is a lesser situation, right? That's different.
But I was going to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, you might want to call New Year's Eve day, because a lot of people are working on that day.
Well, let me just say this though. Let me just say this. Here's what's incredible to me. Like we've started this call off, and I started it by going in deeper. Okay, so it's on me. But we started this day off. This call off by talking about a couple of days of the year that are important to people. Right? That's what we've done. And the irony is, like, there's 12 months in a year to develop out a fabulous book of business. I would say that this is more of a personal decision to leave people alone because we're in this mindset of being truly concierge. Even if you were to lose a deal per se, which you wouldn't know that you did or didn't unless somebody told you. But let's just presume that was the case. Okay? Let's just presume it. So what? So what? Over the course of the year, is that going to even put a dent in you achieving your vision? No, not if you're strategic. If you think somehow that, you're going to find these moments of time where maybe everybody else is sleeping and you're the only one making these phone calls and, you're running a risk. I just think you have a tactical mindset. I don't think, I know. You have a tactical mindset. And I'm not accusing you of that, Gail. I'm just saying, think about it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. How about that? But I would...
I'm just doing this for my telemarketer.
Yeah. Did she ask? Did she ask?
Yeah. So I just wanted to hear your feedback, and no, I agree with you.
Yeah, because I know how you are. You have a huge family, and this is a very important holiday for you and me, right? So, it has, personal connotations that are there. What if you stumble upon somebody? And I would be more afraid of the negative side of it. But anyway, let's move off of it. I got it. I thought it was a fair question and a good one. And I'm glad I got a chance to deal with it, right? But I just think ultimately, I think it's a bad move. But my answer, the reason I was triggered per se, was because I'm so adamant about us trying to teach and be strategic. Right. So when you're teaching a telemarketer who comes on to say, look, we have faith in our strategy. We really do. We have faith that the gift giving principle of getting the right information to that person at the right time is powerful. We believe it. And now we've been around long enough to know that it works, to know that it's appreciated, and to know that, and Autumn can second this, that we are in a position of plenty. We have more than enough people who are accepting this information and spending time with us. More than enough. In fact, our new worry is, in fact, it might be too many, and that we need to raise the standard of how many people we actually engage with in that deeper relationship to take up the time of the people doing the job. Okay. So it's an interesting dilemma to have already with about 8.5 months of really fulfilling this strategic approach. All right, let's get after it. Gail, I love you for asking the question. It was good, Paul. I get it, but I know you, dude. I'm going to go right after you. You're a tactician, and this is going to become much more strategic for you if I can help it in 2020. So it's not about putting in the hours. I would expect you and Gail slow down, especially you, Paul, because you're doing these calls yourself. Slow down. I just think it's a waste of time.
I really like the idea of just going to sit somewhere and having a glass of wine and chilling and working on strategy.
Right, because it slows down, Paul, and that's what we don't do. And so I'm very, very, much so in the mastermind level, especially, but clearly here publicly, I'm going to say that one of the best usages of time, and I'm teaching my kids this with all their endeavors, hockey, acting, social media marketing and business, photography, finance. My kids have these varied interests. And I say, well, look, the most important thing to do is to stop and write. Get some stuff out of your head, write. That's the action of the strategist, not the technician. To be able to sit down and just write and to think on paper, get it out of the noisy head, through the arm, through that old-fashioned implement of a pencil or a pen, and just to write. What am I doing when I'm selling? Why am I doing this? Okay. And am I really being helpful to these people? So when I pick up the phone, what do I say? And is that an overall part of my strategy? Is it, in my case, it's easy, right? Is it in alignment with my vision, my ultimate human vision to be a person for others? Am I really treating that person with the ultimate respect when I ask Autumn to say certain things, to send certain things, when I ask Laura to follow up and do certain things? Is that all congruent with a personal vision for the drive? And does that personal vision permeate through all the systems? Well, I don't know that for real until I take that time to think by myself and also think with my team. To the left of me right now, I can reach into my bag and I can grab out, and I will do it to prove it. Right here, near and dear to my heart, is this ringed folder. It's right there. Actually, ironically, you can see one of my kids was actually writing the 3 lines there: visionary, strategist, and tactician. Right here in my own strategy book, because I'm teaching them this is how you get up out of your head as a tactician salesperson, and you question and you improve the plan and the strategy for 2020. So see, a lot of people want to make planning some big esoteric, bizarre thing, when I could say right now, you could all disappear this afternoon, all throughout next week when it's slow. Especially, this is why I'm kicking you off one-on-ones for a day. Not because I don't want to help you and keep the rhythm, because I want to tell you, go try to do this by yourself. Get alone with yourself, right? And do this kind of work. And then when we go back to work in a couple of weeks, one-on-one, you've thought. And so I'm not pushing you up the hill strategically. You're actually sitting there thinking into a 3-ring binder saying, tactically as a salesperson, what did I do on a regular basis that worked? What did I do that didn't work? What have I heard over and over in this group that I seem to be running away from? And if you think that into a page, it really comes locked down there, even if you just shut the book and never look at it again. That's why I was a big fan of Brian Tracy's work when he talked about if you have, and forget the to-do list. That's not what this is. Okay, that's not what this is. This isn't. We're just kind of jamming stuff into a book because it's a to-do list. We're getting it out of our head through the arm on the pencil and in here. It's captured, and you'd be shocked at what that does to the subconscious mind. It begins to highlight things. See, the brain is noisy, and you're going to go online tonight. You're going to talk to people tonight, and you're going to get a noisy head. You're going to be triggered by the holidays. You're going to be triggered by family relationships. You're going to have so much noise that one of the greatest things you could do right now is to sit still by yourself and think into a booklet by writing. It's just, I just don't know that I know a more pragmatic way to become more strategic for 2020. And again, we have the framework where we talk about the marketing module, which leads into conversion, which is where sales happens, right? That's where you flow into this mode where sales is happening in the conversion module. So by thinking through all this, you're getting up above it. And that's the creative imagination. That's why I say, do it where you're comfortable. Glass of wine, have a beer, have a cocktail, have a glass of water, sit in a comfy chair, quiet it all down and think onto a page. But don't just think, get it out of your head where all that other stuff. Look, we've got an impeachment trial going on. You can't go anywhere but hear one side of the story or the other. I mean, it's noise. And what all that is doing is affecting our ability to be more effective in our own businesses, because we're being persuaded to spend our time and energy negatively in so many ways. We're being attacked. We're being oversold. There's a way out. It's got a pen and a pad all over it. It's a way out. It's a creative imagination that gets us up out of that. Do you ever wonder why you get on the phone and you're agitated? Right? Because we talked about that with Autumn and Laura. We try to hit that door, especially Autumn the other day. I was saying, what Laura and I have done as salespeople is we try to hit the door of the office. And that's figurative in cases where I'm in Boston today. I try to hit the door of this room when I come in here today, and I leave everything at the door. Right? And I come in here focused, and I set an environment. There's a particular room I like to use at this office share where I'm focused to do the task at hand. It's very strategic. I'm sitting in the exact same place, in the exact same way, over and over, looking at how could I improve this for you? And that's what I did today. I said, okay, strategically, we've got to stick them to the formula. Let's open up the mind map. So you see what I'm saying? Like all that you see, there's more to it. And it's a strategic thought, and it's easy. All right, let's roll into the tactical piece of this. Here we go. Lindsay, were you able to join us? Do we know if she's here, Linda?
I sent her an email. I haven't seen anything back.
Okay.
I do not know.
Okay, this is all for your benefit anyway, so let's get after it, because what I'm teaching you for her is to mimic what Autumn and I are doing in our own office, which is, again, strategic. So the prospecting formula, are you familiar with the mind map that we've created? Has she given you a copy of the latest version of that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what we do is, as we continue to refine that mind map, by the way, hi, Peter, and hi, John Salkowski. Thank you for jumping on Facebook and saying hello. So as we go here, we go through Just context is all that changes on the left-hand side of the mind map, meaning it's an expired, it's a probate, it's a for sale by owner, it's a, calling into a neighborhood, it's an over the net home evaluation, whatever it might be. That's the context that we have to deal with. Then the formulaic approach is pretty simple, because we're going to listen to real calls against what we think the strategy should or could be. Does that make sense, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. So in the beginning, the very easy part of this is the introduction. But remembering that in a busy world, and I just made a longer introduction here today because there was a key point there that got triggered about we have this very limited time to talk to somebody whose brain is noisy the minute they pick up the phone because of all these other things we're aware of. So if there's very, 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 very tiny limited time to make your point, and they can determine and filter very quickly whether or not you are useful to them, because we are interrupting everybody that doesn't know us when we call them for anything, including our own clients, if they don't know what we're about to talk about. So you start off, hey, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because, right? So it's very simple. It's very smooth. I'm identifying myself. That's honesty, right? And I'm calling you because is a trigger word, which makes somebody lean in. So somebody has allowed me to get my introduction of who I am and where I'm from and the reason I'm calling. It's very, very simple, but it's shocking how many people, when somebody actually answers the phone after all these dials, let's assume you make, for every 10 calls you make, you get one answer. So that's a lot of work to get one answer, because that's about what we're shooting for. We're looking for that 10% in my office. We talked about that today. If we get above it, great. If we get below it, we work harder, whatever it is that we figure out, or we get more strategic, right? So we look at that and we say, okay, I get it. 9 times I start to fall asleep and I'm kind of like getting comfortable. Bang, somebody answers. Well, the key is to be ready to always go back to the formula the minute somebody shocks you and they answer. I think it's a simple thing that happens, but it throws everything askew. You can hear it. It's called, Dan, everybody starts to stutter. Where it's just like, have your info ready. And when you dial, focus. The most important thing is their name. Sally? This is Danny Griffin, or whatever. Even if you just go in, hi, is Sally there? Well, I'm not going to fret that until I hear the consumer's reaction, and I'll tell you if it's too slow or too fast. Sally? That's what we decided. Autumn was very good at that. It's this authoritative thing that she'll actually change the tone of her voice. Sally? Almost like a mother checking in on her daughter. John? Right? This is Autumn from Griffin Realty Group in Osterville. The reason I'm calling you, and Osterville only if it's relevant. She doesn't say that if she's calling someone in Boston, right? I'm calling you because I saw your beautiful home online and noticed that it didn't sell. That's the whole context that we've been working with or evolved to. It's conversational, it's complementary. There's a lot of very, very specific things in there that, albeit might seem subtle to somebody else, are extremely specific to us. We need to trigger somebody in a positive way. With all this negativity out there, we're looking for positive. So you saw your beautiful home. Your beautiful home is a trigger in a positive way. We cheat towards positive. And then we noticed that it didn't sell. Okay? So there's the deal. We saw it. We noticed it didn't sell. There's the context. So we'd like to send you something that will help you. Another key word, help, keyword phrase, help you sell it the next time. Permission. May I do that? Now, that has worked extremely well, because it turns out that when you pick up the phone in a telemarketing world that is over telemarketed because of robo this and robo that and no context, it turns out it's pretty easy once somebody says hello to get them to listen to you when they know quickly there's something in it for them. It's as old as the hills, okay? But it's positive. There's a lot of thought into this. Then we have to take that beat, that's beat number 1, to get that all out and get permission. Like I say to Autumn, I just want you to get permission. Permission to do what? To market, essentially, is what we're doing. I mean, everybody wants to telemarket without any other kind of supportive marketing to show them the goods. What's in it for me? Not just a telemarketing call to tell you we know you did something wrong and we're magic and we have something we're going to pull out of our hat. No, to say we'd like to send you some information. Now, of course, helpful information is marketing. It's marketing. It's demonstrating to this person that we know what we're doing, we're professional, and we'll prove it. It's a money where your mouth is type of thing. I just made you a promise I'm going to fulfill. I can't believe how many people make a promise and never send anything. I remember back in the day, people said, I'm going to send you a free list of homes, and then they would never send it. And they would just call. That's what's wrong. It's broken. So now I have to go to probate today because we've gone through the whole call last week. You go back and listen to the expired call from last week. It's up on all the public spaces, Facebook, YouTube, and in the group. But we go to the next one and we say probates because strategically, as you build a business for telemarketing, there are other types of people. And if we go all in one basket on expireds, it is not a balanced approach. So it is lesser than best practices for strategy. Okay. So now we come in and we just simply consider context. But strategically, this starts off with, hey, what was in that package we sent them? Well, we know we have a cover letter of explanation. We know we give them what they want, pictures and details of properties that were in their price range, not most like them. We don't know. We've never been there. But we give them properties and pictures and details of sold properties a little bit above and a little bit below what they're sold for so that they can interpret it. This is sort of a do-it-yourself situation, plus what they need. They don't want to hear that, but what you need is a strategy. And here's our strategic plan in the form of a magazine. That's it. Simple. And it's a true pre-listing, do-it-yourself marketing kit that anybody could understand simply because it's done simply. But now we've got a little bit of a different challenge. If you sent that same thing, clearly the cover letter referencing expired is a problem. So now we have to represent something else. And it's not even about real estate. In the beginning, it's about somebody being the administrator of an estate where death has occurred. So we have to deal with this whole new chunk of information before we can even get into real estate. So you really, to do this way, you really have to create a package of free information that is really pertinent and helpful to them in a genuine, honest way that plays off of what we just did. So you can't even make a telemarketing call with intelligence this way. Okay, you can do it on muscle, sure, but to be able to be valuable, to be different, to be unique, so you're not the 37th person calling, because you're going to be in probate, you're going to be up against all these wholesalers who know that time and convenience is important to somebody who died, especially if it was a married couple, and now all of a sudden an income is gone. So you're up against all this noise. You have to be able to cut through it with a genuinely caring tone and going from there. Hey guys, a little noisy mic there. So the next part of this is, okay, Linda, I'll keep you in the hot seat in my mind here, so I'm speaking to somebody. So hi, this is Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling you is because I saw that you're the personal representative for a probate estate. That's it. I have to give them that context as to why I'm calling them. Okay. Now, again, in the name of my company, the words real estate have already been sort of tendered, right? I haven't said anything that was aggressive. Again, you know my analogy, be helpful, not humpful, like a little puppy jumping up and down all over them. You want. Nope, I want to help you. You have to have that mindset. So I noticed that you're the personal representative for a probate estate. And I'd like to help to send you something. Now, remember the other strategy, to do something. I want to send you something to be able to do something, okay, to help you. So I want to send you something that will help you get through the process. What process? I just referenced probate. I might even throw the word in there and test it to get you through the probate process. So all I did was pick the successful formula up, but it started with knowing that I have this genuine thing. And I would recommend for all telemarketers, whether you're exclusively doing telemarketing for a team, a group, a company, or you're the principal doing it, you put the, hey guys, come on. Someone's banging the mic around. You have to mute me, all right? Really a lot of detail here today, so just mute your mic. Okay, or not. So now I'll do it. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, Linda. We're back to work here. Here we go. So when you come back to this, Well, it's so intricate. I just don't want to even, I don't want you to miss a slight detail. So you'll be able to ask me questions here. So when you come back to this, it's that same introduction all the way up to because, right? Linda? Yes.
Yes.
This is Danny. There you go. See
Yes.
the trigger? See the trigger? Right? I was actually reading the script. See the trigger? Linda? It was with authority and you naturally responded. This is Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group. And the reason I'm calling you is because I saw that you're the personal representative for the estate of Sally Brown. And I'd like to send you something that'll help you get through that probate process a little bit more easily. May I do that? Now, I threw a few word whiskers in there to soften it. I would say it's okay to find your place in there, Linda, what your natural voice is, but I want the true, caring, empathetic woman to come out. Don't go too far. Don't go get off track. We noticed that last week when Autumn and I were breaking down her call. Sort of got out of order, and sometimes those word whiskers can stretch into whole full-blown lines where it gets a little awkward, right? Don't forget what beat you're in. To be helpful, you must hit beats, or they're going to get lost, and you're going to lose them, and now you lost the chance to help them. Okay? You with me so far?
Yes.
So here we go again. Linda, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because I saw that you're the personal representative for the estate of Sally Brown. So I'd like to send you something that'll make the process a little bit easier. May I do that? Consumer says one of two things. That's a real trigger. It's very difficult to say no to these types of offers where there really is genuinely something coming to them. Everybody likes to receive. Everybody does. So the fact that you're going to send them something, it's tough to say no to. You'll find that it triggers a lot of people, right? To say yes. Okay. Wonderful. May I confirm your best mailing address? Now you're securing the address because now it's clear it's in the mail. It's not digital. Great. And if I do nothing more because I sense there's pain there or there's something, wonderful. What I'm going to do is call you next week to make sure you received it. So what you'll be receiving. Now, they could either ask this, what are you sending? Or if you sense you might need to make it be more valuable and you have a little bit more time rather than just information to help you get through the process, I'm mailing you a glossary of probate terms, a probate process timeline, and a list of probate attorneys just in case you don't have one. So they might say, yeah, I'm all set with the attorney. Wonderful. The terms and the timeline are really helpful. It'll really help you understand where you're at in the process. Now, Linda, in the case that there's real estate included, I'll also send you some information about how to take care of that for estate purposes. Is that relevant in your case? So now this is a smooth and easy way to determine, is there real estate in this case? Now it's a little bit more difficult because you're going to have to genuinely buy into that you're willing to spend some money and send some helpful information to somebody that's in your marketplace who's just in a probate situation. Now I've green lighted that all day. If I can be a servant to my physical marketplace where we can send out some information on probate, that's just simple general information, put in the right order, do it. Because I believe that goodwill boomerangs back to my business and the people that work within my context, right? Autumn, Laura, if we just treat people like that, even if there's no real estate, because there's been a death, I'm all in. You answer the phone, we appreciate that. I'm genuinely calling to help you. Here it is. So you have to understand that this for us is different. You with me, Linda?
Yes.
Okay, questions from there. Thoughts about that?
You want my question?
I do, ma'am. This is all for you. Yeah.
I do agree with you, and this is the way I have been and intend to proceed. I do have one question. In many cases, I'll get through to a voicemail, and if I leave a message, how do I approach that?
Okay, if you decide,
what should my verbiage be?
Yeah, if you decide to leave a message, it should be exactly what this is. I mean, it's a strategy. That's the good news. So all you would do is just reiterate this in a message. Hi, Linda. This is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. And slowly, like it's very important to slow the roll down, especially if it's a message. Hi, Linda. This is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because I saw that you are the administrator of the estate of Sally Brown. Now, the reason I've been trying to reach you is that I wanted to send you some information that will help you get through that process more easily. Since I haven't been able to reach you, I think I have an address here that might be yours. I'm going to send this in the hopes that you receive it. Either way, if you could call me to confirm the right address, I'd appreciate that. It's very consistent. I didn't have to make up anything. I didn't have to do this on muscle. I just stayed consistent with what I have in my hands and how I get it to you. An alternative would be, Linda, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. It'd be nice if I knew my name of my own company. If calling from Griffin Realty Group, the reason I'm calling is because I saw that you are the administrator of the estate of Sally Brown. So I wanted to send you some information that will help you get through that process more easily. I just wasn't sure of exactly what address to send it to. I have a couple here and I didn't want to go into the wrong place. So if you wouldn't mind calling me back, that's all I wanted to do was get this out to you. Here's my number. So you could play around with it, because what you're trying to do is leave an effective message. We don't leave a message for the sake of leaving a message. We leave it because we're following a strategy, and then that technique of leaving the message, we're hoping provokes them. You can either call me or text me, you could say, right? You don't want to say too much because they got your phone number. Call me or text me. Don't get into email me at this address and all that. The idea was, I have something for you because I know you're in this situation and I want to make sure it gets to you. So that's what I would say, as I would be consistent with the strategy. That help?
Yes.
And then all we can, go ahead. Yeah, Autumn, hang on one second. Autumn, hang on one second, because we're going to take your real call and then we're going to backdrop it against this. Okay, so hang on.
Which is not very concise, but can I just say one thing about
Sure.
what had just happened?
Sure.
I left a message for somebody, and when I leave a message, I just say, hey, and I leave a message if I've tried over and over and I'm not getting anywhere, sort of a last-ditch effort, and I don't think I'll ever hear from them. And I've tried for months, and I'm not, I don't leave messages otherwise. When I do leave a message, I just say, hey, Alice, Autumn calling from Griffin Realty Group. Now, most people are going to hang up right there, so I keep it very sweet, short. Just calling because I saw that you had a home that didn't sell. We couldn't understand it, so we wanted to send you a package. Do you mind calling me back at blah, 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 because, and let me know if I can do that. Thank you, click. I just got a call while on this call from a woman that I left a message on October 17th for, and it's now 2 months later. I just got a call, and she said, I got your message, and I really want to sell this place really quick, my sister and I, and she gave me all the addresses and everything, and we set a time for a phone appointment after the holidays. We didn't set the time, but there's going to be a phone call after the holidays where we're going to set a time for her and Danny. In the meantime, I'm going to send, because she's out in New Mexico, in the meantime, I'm going to send her and her sister a CMA package with the help of Laura, of course. And that's how it goes. So you never know.
And again, I think the best practices point there is that Autumn's a pro telemarketer, okay? Pro telemarketers know that you don't get paid as a pro telemarketer leaving messages. They know that. And I'm going to applaud her in front of you all and give her 5 gold stars, because she is tenacious in pursuit of a real conversation. Let that sink into everybody. Don't BS yourself to think for 1 second that a dial that doesn't connect is anything more than a swing and a miss and just a par for the course when it comes to telemarketing. She is tenacious. We now have a brand new listing. We have a wonderful client by the name of Kathy, and she's fantastic. And it's because Autumn pushed through some information, contact information that wasn't so good, went further, went the extra mile, fast people search, found her daughter-in-law, made contact, found the lady. I went in, had a fabulous conversation with the lady, and we have an excellent client, and we really think we can get this done for this gal who really, really needs to sell it. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's the first one that said 15, okay? That's because we understand this is a pursuit to really help somebody get a problem resolved. We find more problems out there, and that's the expired pile. The probate is new for us, and so we're going to listen to this. And like she said, it's not concise because it's new. So we're understand what we're doing. There's where theory What I did was took a formula, theoretically plugged in probate, not theoretically built the package. I know exactly what the package looks like and know exactly what the cover letter says because it's what I want it to say. I can control that. But again, in a conversation that's live, the first time you do this, you're calling people that have, experienced death. They may have loved the person deeply. They may not have liked it, but we don't know. We don't know. It's a little bit more blind when we're doing probate. So let's get after this one and listen to it. And the idea here is not to say, oh, that didn't sound anything like the script. The idea is to try to bring it into a strategy. We might change the script based on this. We might make some adjustments. We're going to listen to what's there. And what Autumn is going to do as a pro, she's going to make her own self-adjustments. It's very easy for me to talk to a pro telemarketer and just say, okay, here's what I think. Then she makes her own adjustments. And then we listen again and again. Right? So here we go. Let's listen.
Hello? Hi, may I please speak with Lisa Van Winkle? May I ask who's calling? Yes, my name is Autumn Isles, and I am with Griffin Realty Group over in Osterville. And I'm calling because we wanted to know if we could send you some complimentary information for probate.
Okay, very, very difficult to hear because when you play a recording, they're just tough. It gets this weird internet interference. But let me just say,
Her TV is on.
Yeah, good. Hold on. Beautifully executed. Beautifully executed. The pace is stunningly good. When she asks the question, and this is what I was kind of hoping for too, is Lisa Van Winkle there? Who's calling? Well, she just doesn't say Autumn Isles and then stop. She goes further, right? She gets that first beat out. So she takes the opportunity. She's in control of the conversation because the pace is beautifully slow and correct, but she gets that whole beat out about why she's calling. It's a really subtle but critical point here. She doesn't just say, this is Autumn Isles from Griffin Realty Group and stop. Because now she leaves that person to guess, well, what's the context? Oh my gosh, you number 50 who called trying to buy my house because somebody died, you ambulance chaser. Instead, she goes right into this helpful information that she can send this gal, okay? And the powerful word here is package. It's not just some stuff. A package means something different. There's some significant stuff that makes up a package. Right? So I want to pick up on that too. So here we go. Let's keep going here. Loved the intro. Loved it. Pace was there. And again, I know I'll speak for her. She knows she's calling a probate. So she knows there's death. And you can feel this empathetic womanly tone out of Autumn. It's powerful to me listening to this. I listened to thousands of these things over the course of my career. That's a 10. So even though the interference was there. Here we go. Let's keep going.
With the idea that if you need us, you have our name in front of you.
I already have an attorney.
Well, we're not an attorney, we're real estate. Now we're
If we wish to sell the property?
Yeah, and
Okay.
we'll give you a free appraisal too. Whatever we can do.
Okay, good. Here's where now because I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to keep grabbing these beats. The first beat is excellent because she's so used to doing it in the context of expireds that it's routine. And she, in her technique and tactic, like I said, it's a 10 out of 10. I'm not going to go back and critique that because I'd be trying to self-indulge. I'd be looking for something that isn't there. It's excellent. But this is where what I was dealing with, Linda, with Autumn, who has not had real estate experience more than 8.5 months. So now this is where the value of what we can do at Probates, Autumn, comes into play. If you really sit still and you think about a probate situation, somebody has died and we can guess into the real estate situation, which means most importantly, there's two major beats in the very beginning. If the property is in a location, in a spot where it's not being cared for, let's say there was an elderly uncle who has died and now nobody's living there. Has the property been secured? And in terms of probate and estate, this is a valued asset inside of this gentleman's estate, and this lady's responsible for it. And clearly, by default, most people are way out over their skis to have that heaped upon them. So in comes this white knight-like mentality that we're here to serve you as a real estate savvy company. We work with attorneys. So the connection to, I already have an attorney. Oh, no, that's fine. We work with a lot of probate attorneys. So there's one thing, Autumn, you probably want to write down. Oh, that's fine. We work with a lot of probate attorneys. Okay.
Okay.
And our role, that would be the sort of the next week, and our role can be multifold. Now, what I know is you, because I didn't tell you to do this yet, or ask you more appropriately, you haven't really studied the probate letter, which clearly articulates what I want to be said. Meaning, if they get this letter, it's much calmer because they can read it at their own leisure and they can understand its beats. And the beat is, look, the first role that a real estate company would play in an estate situation is, number one, if the property needs to be secured, we will help you do that. We can contact, locksmith. We can contact utility companies. We can go preview the property to make sure that there's nobody squatting in it. So if you need, a real estate attorney because your probate attorney doesn't do evictions, whatever, we can step in and help serve you in the context of securing the asset. That's the first beat in probate. The second beat in probate is, and then we can, and you kind of got it here, we could do a full evaluation of the property as it sits now for estate purposes. Because I'm sure your attorney and all the heirs and you as the administrator are going to want to have an idea of what it's immediately worth right now in its current condition. We can do that for free. All of it. But there's two beats. One, secure it with our team. Two, evaluate it for estate purposes only, not to sell it. Say, sure, as you get more savvy at this, you would say, sure, if it needs to be sold. But in the beginning, most attorneys need an evaluation for estate purposes. What is this thing worth? Because what they're trying to do is settle an estate. And especially if there's heirs, everybody, you triggered. Your money triggers everybody. How much am I getting? And now all of a sudden everybody gets greedy about the property. No. We bring in a realistic evaluation of its current condition. Now, of course, the next thing is, if it is going to go to market, now you become any other type of seller. See how far I had to go before I even get to standard real estate? What we could do is have Danny come over and meet with you and go through with you the process for not just evaluating for estate purposes, but to determine what you want to do or don't want to do to prepare it for marketing, and then show you our process for disposing of the asset for you, including what the estate would walk away with after all expenses. So all I do is I take care of the probate situation first. I don't rush. Got it, Autumn? Make sense?
Yes.
So
yes, it makes perfect sense.
Right. So when you read the cover letter, you will see that's exactly what it says. Right? Hey, we feel for you. We get it. This can be a trying time. And now all of a sudden you have to do this. So to help you get through the process, we've got these things in here. A timeline, a list of terms, right? And a list of attorneys in the case that you don't have it. Good, you already have one, no problem. You don't even need to include that. But in the case that this includes real estate, we'll include some other information that's pertinent to the real estate. Does it? Yes, it does. Wonderful. So we'll include in there some information about the real estate. But given the probate situation, I want you to understand now on the phone, our first beat would to be evaluated for probate purposes, and to secure it and evaluate it for probate purposes in its as-is condition. Then you can go into the standard other stuff, quote unquote, if it's pertinent. Okay, let's listen to the rest of this here. Here we go.
So I want to start by just sending you a complimentary package with a glossary in it, just a timeline so that you know how these things go. Would that be okay? All right, thank you. Thank you. Are you still in Norwell at 239 Old Oak and Bucket? Okay, thanks.
Slow down a little bit too. You know what I mean? You're so good at slowing down, and I don't know whether it was because she was hard to hear, but again, this is slowed down in artificial time. In real time, it doesn't sound like this, right? But just you were so good, and she sounds a little bit elderly. Just let it come to you. It's coming. You're so good at that. Just let this come to you would be my gut reaction. Again, I know it's so easy for me to do when I can start and stop it. But that's what you're hearing. And again, I think it's simply because you're not used to those first couple of probate beats, but you nailed it. I mean, it's in there. The meat of what you need to do is already there. The detail will follow with experience of knowing what we're doing here. All right, let's listen to the end of it.
Thank you so much. I will send this right out to you.
All right, I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, just confirm that you'll be calling back to make sure she gets it. So that's one of those I think we always have to become more and more aware of the ending of a beat and the setup of the future. Like, because she's genuinely appreciative that this is coming in, right? You can hear it. I mean, she's there. She sounds a little bit beaten down. She sounds a little bit older, but you sound like, hey, like this is it. But then all of a sudden, strangely, you feel rushed to me, right? You have relationship here already. I mean, I think that's what I like. You have it. And I think it's all because of the way you started. I'm going to go back and listen to it cleanly all the way through, but let's catch the end of it. Hang on a second. Yeah, no, you're done. All right, good. Hang on one sec. Here we go. Let's listen to it cold from the start. And you're going to see the bits, right? Remember, bits or beats, whatever you want to call them, that intro is a 10 out of 10. I would be dancing on the head of a pin to try to tweak that. But it's the next piece, knowing I am strategically sitting in a probate call. My idea is to get definitely the glossary of terms and the timeline, because nobody knows that language and nobody takes the time to get that to them. And then the other thing is to determine, should I include information about real estate? Is there any real estate involved? Okay. That's what makes sense. Now, once that's all done, is to confirm the address. We've got to get the right address, and you have the phone number, so you know that. So you're good with contact information. So once that's done, I mean, if she wants to lay off some pain on you and talk about it, and she wants to get into the real estate, good, go for it. But in this case, it might have been there too, Autumn. You know what I mean? It might have been there. And this is where I'm giving you more leeway than I would have early on with anybody, and say, hey, I trust you to determine the real estate status, to determine whether, is this really a viable situation for us as a prospect, or are we pushing too much for just another name? Did we just push too hard to just get a package out? So I would trust you, like in this example, this would be a place where I'd say, spend a little bit more time. If only 1 out of 10 people on average answer a phone, take another 10 seconds when it's there for you, right? 30 seconds, because you did such a good job. All right, let's listen to the whole thing in its entirety.
Hello?
Hi, may I please speak with Lisa Van Winkle?
May I ask who's calling?
Yes, my name is Autumn Isles, and I am with Griffin Realty Group over in Osterville. And I'm calling because we wanted to know if we could send you some complimentary information for probate estate, with the idea that if you need us, you have our name in front of you.
Okay. And again, there's something that we want to get rid of. We want to edit that out. I had to stop it there. In the case that you just know we're there, like lean back more on the package as a DIY.
Right.
They may or may not need us ever again. I like that better. You know what I mean? I like that better than saying, just so you know we're out there, because that becomes gratuitous in that moment. And you don't need it. You just don't need it. You're better than that. The strategy is better than that. We don't, because I heard it in the expired too. It's probably a habit that we should root out early. You don't need to say it, because it gets into that weird, not that you're doing this, but then it gets into this weird place I've heard with many people when they do calls, is like, oh, and we're the top Remax agency and here, blah, 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 right? It just gets totally self-indulgent, and it kills the whole idea of trying to pull together, this concept that I really am giving you some stuff that really will help you get through the probate process. It will give you an idea. So if I find you in that place of pain and you're dealing with a probate attorney, this will give you some questions maybe you can ask them. Because most small business people, especially attorneys and realtors, they're not disorganized. They're not. They just bring somebody in. They go through the tactics that they go through. They're very good with people, but they don't have a strategy that says, here's what's going to happen. Here's how it's going to happen, right? Especially when it's billable hours, Autumn, right? You follow?
Right.
Okay, they're not looking to speed it up necessarily. I'm not a crack on lawyers, but you get my point, right? It's just that we didn't do it for years too. We just sort of babbled on tactically too. It's what most small business people do as a mistake. So now we get this thing out. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I already have an attorney. Well, we're not an attorney. We're real estate.
See, actually, you confused her by saying it too. Now that I hear it, right?
Right.
You confused her as to who we were.
Oh, if we were to sell the property?
Yeah, and we'll give you a free appraisal too. You know, whatever we can do.
And be careful of the language. Appraisal is actually done by a former appraiser. We will give you an evaluation of the property now for estate purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, we will evaluate the property if you'd like us to. When the time is right, we can evaluate the property for estate purposes, so you know what you'd walk away with after a sale in as-is condition. And if you wanted us to coach you through the process, we could do that. But again, it's not about that right at the moment. Let me just get you this information so that I get it in your hands, right? And in the end here, what's missing, I will follow up with you in a week to make sure it has arrived.
So I want to start by just sending you a complimentary package with a glossary in it, just a timeline so that you know how these things go. Would that be okay? All right, thank you. Thank you. I think
See, right there, you just get really rushed. It's interesting. I wonder why.
probably the sound. Probably the TV was annoying.
Yeah, I got it. That makes you human, right? I got it because it's annoying.
Exactly.
It's annoying just to listen to it. But that's what we were talking about, right? There's a very subtle example of it, but our ability to ascend our own annoyance, our own emotional reaction to the situation, that's we're starting to really get up into the real finer details of super uber top producer, right? That's like really refined skill set. But mission accomplished. Bravo. So good job. What did you see? And then I'll just do a quick Q&A. Yeah, very, very good. Very good. I mean, well, I love your style anyway. We're on the same page. It's just connecting you to strategy that I've developed over 20 years of thinking about this and educating you on real estate, what we do for free guidance, and just getting you more used to what that really looks like versus having you just be this telemarketer who shows up in a building and has no attachment to it, right? I would say read those letters, really study what those letters say, circle them, make marks on them, and ask me questions that will connect you to the package and the body of the offer, right? What do you think when you listen to this?
Me?
Yeah.
I think that the tone of voice is correct. The empathy is correct. This may not have been the best one to shoot over to you simply because it's clear from my viewpoint that I'm just really tired of battling her TV set.
Yep.
And that's why I wrapped it up.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of it. I think it could have been longer and better. I think, the humanity in me was just that I was tired.
Yeah, but you know what though, Autumn, in that case, like, what we try to do here in the coaching program is open the kimono, as they like to say, about Griffin Realty Group, and it's reality. This is not some theoretical BS, we're going to make it up as we go along and lie to everybody. I mean, this is the real deal. Yeah. Right. Well, I say that, with a little tongue in cheek, but with, sincerity of purpose. There's so many people out there where they can turn their phone around and start waxing on poetic about coaching, and they don't know the first of what it's like to be really in this game. We're really in this game every day. And the reality is you as a human being will come through that door and have to deal with these real situations. But yet what you hear here in this call, you stay to the yellow brick system. And I loved it. I really do. I just think it's exciting to hear you buying in and it working. And now refinement is all we have to do. I don't have to say, hey, Dorothy, why are you way over there over the guardrails in the poppy fields, right? I don't have to say that. You're right there. You're right there. You're not even bumping up against the guardrails in this. You nail it. You accomplish what I hope we can get is permission to market to them. Get them helpful information, which is by default marketing to them. It's brilliant. I love it. I'm very impressed that early on in a probate that kind of a call is possible. I don't know why I feel so enthusiastic about it, or it's just this double shot of espresso next to me. I'm excited. I think we're changing lives here. I know we are. You sent me into a house the other day with you sent me into a house the other day with the Katies. We're going to change their life. right?
Yep.
We are.
Yep.
We are. And
Well, because I find that I'm doing a lot of cleanup.
Yep.
From mismatched agents.
Yeah. And agents that some of them are good people that just don't know how to do this. This is really difficult. Yeah, good. All right, Rebecca, go ahead. I heard you calling out to me, and I'll do just 5 more minutes of a bonus section. Call it a day.
Hopefully this is not too long of a question.
Oh, it's okay.
But it's been like burning in the back of my mind. So what if you encounter someone who says, I have a lawyer. No, I don't have a real estate agent, but my lawyer is going to be handling everything. Is there a good counter for that, or should we still try to give them their package?
Yeah, say, well, one of the things that the lawyers don't do is go out and evaluate a property for estate purposes. So that's our gift to your attorney. So what we'll do is I'm going to send you the package anyway. You have no obligation to us. It'll just help you have a timeline. I know he's handling it, but it'll just educate you. And more importantly, it'll give you some information about the real estate process. We know you'll appreciate this, and so will your attorney. Just push.
Awesome.
Yeah, just push, because it is helpful. So in that case, just put it on. Now, of course, if they just throw back, say, look, it can't hurt you. You can give it to your attorney, and if they have a preferred realtor, we'd just like to get it to you. In the case that they might want a second opinion, which oftentimes they need for estate purposes, we will be ready to go, and you will know who we are. That's where what Autumn was saying could be relevant, right? Say, hey, we'd love to be your plan B. Just take this stuff. It'll be helpful even if we're not. But just in case you need a second opinion of value for estate purposes, we're there. And that allows you to send in this Trojan horse of fabulous strategy and information that they can't help but say, holy crap, this was great. Thank God we got this stuff from them, right? Because we've heard that before. Autumn will tell you, hey, I'm glad I didn't hang up on you. Right, Autumn? Autumn went back to work. See, true telemarketer. All right, listen, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much for, you're welcome. Thank you so much for the attention in 2019. We will see you on the other side in 2020 for the sales training call. There will be no sales training call for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to respect you and force you all to take some time off. If you want to listen to recordings of these, they're all over the Facebook page at the Realty Classroom. They're all over the YouTube channel at the Realty Classroom. And for all my mastermind members, just a reminder, we only have a helpline at 1 o'clock Monday for 2 weeks in a row. No 101s, no mastermind. That's it. Take some time off. And you heard my advice at the beginning of this. Get a ringed, hang on 1 second. Get a ringed binder and take some notes and get strategic. Go ahead, Linda.
Yes, this was very helpful. I'm hoping you can email me or have Laura or Autumn email me a bullet list as to what we've talked about today. That's how I work. I have my ring binder in front of me right now, taking notes.
It's even easier than that. So, that's on Lindsay to go on to the Teachable site and review both the cover letters with you and the X-Mind. There's no list that's better than the actual strategic stuff. That's the benefit of having Lindsay, who's in the mastermind. She has it all available.
It's on Mastermind, and it'll be cover letters and what?
Cover letters and the X-Mind.
X-Mind.
Yep, the X-Mind.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
That's all.
It's all.
I've had experience in this sort of thing, but the direction you've given is really, really helpful, and
Good.
I can hit the ground running.
You bet you can. So she'll go over that with you, and then you can jump on one of our one-on-ones with she and I, and we'll go into detail. But that's on her first as your manager to put this material in front of you, put the scripting in front of you, and walk through it. Very important to connect you to that body of work, okay?
Yes, that'll work great also.
Bravo.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet. Thank you so much for being a part of it today, too.
Yes, and happy holidays.
Same to you.
Everyone.
Happy holidays to everybody. Thanks, everybody. That will conclude the call. See you on the other side on 2020. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Danny.
You bet. You bet, gang.